tornadoes have not been moving all that rapidly necessarily. So it seems like kind of a dichotomy there, but that has very much been the case so far today. You can see the rain coming down at times. There's been hail, as I mentioned, associated with these. And anytime you're in a tornado warning, there's going to be an area that is probably producing some of the hail, and you always have to be careful of that as well. A lot of the hail out of the system hasn't been overly big, but it has produced massive amounts of hail from time to time. And I don't know if you saw our noon show today, but I tell you what, there is some pretty impressive video from Wayne, Nebraska of just a ton of hail on the ground. Again, not overly large, but pretty impressive nonetheless. So those are the things that we are monitoring out there. Kat, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, we did just get a report of pea-sized hail in South Sioux City. And like you just said a minute ago, we've had copious amounts of small hail. So while it might not be big hail that can damage cars and things like that, it may be enough hail that could create issues if you are trying to travel anywhere. So probably a good idea to just kind of hunker down for a little bit until we can figure out how things are going to shake up with this particular thunderstorm. If you take a look actually right now on our riverfront camera, you can see that we have what appears to be some hail flying on our riverfront camera right now. So I would say that's pea-sized hail, possibly larger at this time. It looks like we do now have a new tornado warning. This is going to be for southern Cumming County, and this warning goes until 2:30. So this is that pesky storm we've been talking about pretty much all day that has created more some earlier tornadoes south of the KTIV viewing area. And so we are going to continue to watch this particular storm. Right now, the area of rotation is south of the KTIV viewing area, south of the Cumming County line. So Ron, I think probably a good idea to let you kind of talk a little bit more about the more pressing rotation in the Sioux City metro area.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's pretty impressive cells that we have going on. While we're not expecting large tornadoes necessarily, anyway, out of this system throughout the afternoon hours, there's circulation all along this line. So right now, there's the circulation that we're talking about that has basically moved away from northeast Nebraska on up into southeast South Dakota right now. This is Highway 20 right here. We all know where Jackson, Nebraska is. Jackson, famous for its tornado years ago as well. Well, the rotation is now to the north of there, and there is I-29. If you happen to have any friends or family heading north out of Sioux City right now, tell them to delay that travel because you don't want to be driving into this at this time if you are heading out of Sioux City. That would be very bad timing if you were taking off right now, so you don't want to be doing that. We obviously have an alerts going on. Going on. The First Alert Weather app is one of the things that is always going to tell you when things like that are going on. So we have another tornado warning. Do you have the printout of that yet, Kat?
Yeah, I'll work on it. We do have that new tornado warning. This does now, obviously, by the phones going off here in the studio.
Yeah.
This does tell us that we do have the tornado warning now for the Sioux City metro area. So this now includes KTIV. That's why you heard our phones going off, and it appears we do have more areas of rotation that are popping up here. I'm going to have a little confab with the National Weather Service, see if I can get a little bit more information. Still nothing coming from the National Weather Service in Sioux Falls. So basically, I think we're just going to continue to track these little areas of rotation. Looks like a second spot of rotation has popped up right over the Sioux City metro. It looks fairly weak, fairly broad, but this time of year, always a good idea to just take precautions just in case. If you are planning to travel in and about the Sioux City metro area, please stay home and go ahead and move to your basement just in case. We do have that area rotation right over the north side of Sioux City. I'm going to go ahead and say probably people here in the KTIV studio area, we should be taking some tornado precautions. Ron and I think we're okay to keep going, but we are watching this area of rotation right on the north side of Sioux City. This is just to the east of Highway 75 with the original area of rotation. That is just to the south of Jefferson. So these are the two spots. I'm going to pause this, give you a little highlight here of the spots we're looking at. So this is area 1. That's right over the north side of Sioux City. And then this kind of broader area that sparked the original tornado warning has broadened out, looking a little bit better. But again, the front edge, the leading edge of these storms are the ones that are just spitting up very quickly, and that's what's happening right now.
And Kat, I want to make sure everybody understands what this tornado warning is all about here in the Sioux City metro area. Specifically, it's for northwestern Woodbury, south central Plymouth, and northeastern Dakota counties. That goes until 2:15. Remember, there are two different ways that tornado warnings can get issued. One is from storm spotters actually seeing a funnel or a tornado on the ground, for example. That is not the case with this one. This one is Doppler radar indicating that rotation that Kat was just showing you, making its way off to the northeast. It's over Sioux City right now, and I'm sure here at KTIV, we're in a good spot, actually. In the studio here, we have concrete walls, no windows. This is actually a pretty good spot, and as I was figuring what was going on, I was just told specifically, yes, everybody here at KTIV is in their sheltered spots. Everybody is going, and we just practiced this yesterday, as a matter of fact. So preparation is key, and that is exactly what we did yesterday. Everybody knows where they're supposed to go. That's where they are right now. And as I said, Kat and I are making sure we stay safe as well. Kat, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind going back to that circulation and zooming into Sioux City? Because I just want to point out, for example, like where KTIV is in relation to all this. There's the tornado warning from Sioux City and points to the east. There's a circulation. I'd say, yes, KTIV is right around this vicinity, right up this direction. So you can see that circulation is kind of heading our way right now. Remember, better not to panic. You always have to watch these things. This is not at this, well, there you go. We can hear
So that's hail that's coming down. We're actually seeing it on our camera right here. So we have hail coming down here at the studio. Not seeing any debris on the camera, so you and I think, are good to go.
Yeah, there you go. There's our signal hail cam, and that is what Kat was just referring to. Yeah, Kat, that's pretty good hail come down, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to run out. If that's okay, if you want to go ahead and
Sure.
keep talking about these circulation, I'm going to go see what size it is so we can report it to the National Weather Service here real fast.
Yeah, so boy, that tells you everything you need to know about what we are seeing here on the north side of town. As I was just talking about, and this is the reason I was talking about where we're located at KTIV, because I could see that the crux of the cell was just about to move toward us here on the northeast side of Sioux City, basically. Gas mic is on, you might actually be able to hear the rain and the hail hitting outside there. And I tell you what, this is pretty loud. I was here very late last night as well, and we were getting in on some hail. I suppose that was probably around 11:30 or so. But boy, it was pounding pretty good on our roof, and I'll stay silent for just a second. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but trust me, it's pretty loud here in the studio when you're standing in here.
We're about quarter size.
Okay, we are about quarter-sized hail is what Kat was just telling me. This is Prospect Hill. This is our Blackbird Bend Casino cam. That is looking north. That's I-29 that you see on the bottom left-hand side of your picture. That's looking northward, so you see how dark the clouds are up that direction. Already, it's quieting down a little bit as far as the sound that we are hearing in the studio here at KTIV. And this is our Signal Hill cam, where you see not only the heavy rain, but you can certainly see something in the way of the hail coming down. Kat was out there. Kat, what did you see out there?
Yeah, so I couldn't see any kind of lowering at this time, so that's really good news. Also, I had limited visibility. I just peeked out really fast. So we saw about quarter-size hail, and it's wind-driven. So it's coming at you from the side, which could also create some issues out there for like windows and things like that. So this is one of the big reasons why you don't want to be near a window. We still have that area of circulation that's now moving north of KTIV, but we have that broad area of circulation still hanging out just to the east of Jefferson as well. We also still have a tornado warning. Okay, so this is a shot from looking out of South Sioux. Yep, so we're looking north up toward the river, toward Dakota Dunes here. That's that second area of rotation that we're looking into. But we still do have a tornado warning. Just a quick heads up for southern Cumming County as well, that area of rotations to the south of the Cumming County line. If you can pull up radar just really fast for me. So we do have that area of rotation near Dodge. This did have a confirmed tornado on it just a few minutes ago. This will be working its way northeast at about 15 miles an hour as well into West Point. So we're going to be watching that very carefully. That cell's been a little bit of a nuisance today with these brief weak spin-ups. So Ron, you want to talk about what's going on?
Yeah, can I tell you what, would you mind putting just reflectivity on there on the radar and broaden out just a little bit? I just want to set the stage exactly where these pop-ups are going on. So thank you very much. There's your first alert weather radar. I don't know if you can pop me on here. That would be very helpful so I can point out a few things here. I don't care if I just appear on that. That looks fine. We don't care here. But this is the radar we're talking about right here. There are the two tornado warnings very close to Sioux City and in the Sioux City metro area. But it's been a couple of different cells that we've been worried about as far as the circulation goes. There I am. All right, so these are the circulations up here in the Sioux City area. Just kind of two different warnings going on. The one over the Sioux City metro area goes until 2:15. The circulation is starting to get on the north side of town here, and we'll keep heading to the north. But we have lots of pop-up cells all along this line. This is what I wanted to point out with this view that I'm talking about. out. And there's the other tornado warning farther down to the south. That one goes until 2:30, and that is for portions of south central Cumming County as well as down into Colfax County as well. So again, that one goes until 2:30. There's been something about the area down there, just south of the KTIV viewing region. I tell you what, there have been numerous tornado warnings, a couple of actual sightings of small tornadoes anyway. But then all of a sudden, these cells did start to build a little bit farther up to the north, and these are the ones that we're seeing now. Even a pretty good-sized one going on to the west of Lamar's, Iowa there as well, Kat, huh?
Yeah, we've got some of these cells. The leading edge is kind of the area we're looking at for the potential for these spin-ups, Ron. And let's see if we can put a little track. I'm going to actually track the whole edge of the storm that's rotating rather than just the two spots. I think just to
I think that's a good idea because the circulation that was going on close to us here at KTIV, which, like I said, is right down here, it's not looking that impressive right now. It's looking a little more impressive off to the west. But there you go, Kat. Go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, so we have 156 for arrival in James, Hinton at 212 with 220 in Milnerville and Merrill at 241. Now, here's the caveat here. While these particular circulations are moving pretty much due north-northeast, the cells themselves are moving toward the east. So we may have more expansion of this to the east as these cells kind of, I guess the meteorological term is propagate, but we get these new edges of the storms that kind of build up on that eastern side. So we're going to take a quick look at the cameras here if we can.
Meteorologists would love to be all techie with their propagating that kind of stuff, right, Kat? But yeah, basically she's just saying where they're moving and such. But there is our riverfront cam right there, looking very dark as you look up the river to the north. Our riverfront cam is actually located on the South Sioux City side of things. So yes, that is looking up to the north. Our Prospect Hill cam, let's take a look at that view as well to see if we're seeing the heavy rain. Again, I think the heavy rain is starting to lift a little bit off to the north of Sioux City. So the actual heavy rain is starting to taper off a little bit here in Sioux City. So there's the view looking up north, and also from our Signal Hill cam, which is located right here at KTIV on the northeastern side of the town. And if you look way off in the distance, you're even seeing a little bit of clearing beginning to take place. That is looking southward right there. And this is what was just filled with very, very heavy rain. And of course, the hail that was coming down that we were hearing so vividly. And as I said, we're still in that tornado warning here in Sioux City. I do think the circulation is starting to get a little bit to the north of us. And as a matter of fact, they may have already changed the warning. Do you see anything about that, Kat?
I'm trying to look it up and see what they've got.
We can see it right there. This is what I'm talking about. This was in effect for all the way down through here and to the north. So they've shortened it a little bit. This is the circulation that they were worried about. So if you're in Sioux City proper, I think you're probably the downtown area, Morningside, South Sioux down here. I think you are all safe as far as having to truly be sheltered in place. Here at KTIV, we're probably close to being able to let everybody maybe go back to work or maybe watch us, whatever they want to do out there. And then this is circulation. This is Hinton, Iowa right here. So it's more southern Plymouth County that I'm concerned about now as far as watching that circulation. Of course, Kat, you were showing that circulation a little farther off to the west.
Yeah, Ron, we just got an update from the National Weather Service. It's moving a little bit more north at 35 miles an hour, so it's picked up speed. So the arrival time now in Hinton is 2 o'clock. So you have roughly 4 minutes until this area of circulation reaches your area. Good idea to go ahead and take shelter just out of an abundance of caution. Even though we're starting to see some of these areas of circulation kind of broaden up a little bit, it's definitely worth being better safe than sorry in these situations today. And really, we're not getting a whole lot of communication from the National Weather Service on any confirmation with these. So we're just, just got somebody in my ear trying to listen to what everybody's saying. Now, just a quick reminder that not only do we have these warnings that are in the Sioux City metro area, we also have that tornado warning still going for southern Cumming County, and that area of rotation is still south of the county line. So, Ron, we're really just focusing in on the two areas of rotation that have sparked the warnings here for the Sioux City Metro.
Yeah, we're actually going to head to a traffic cam and take a look at that. What you're going to be seeing is a still image, and basically this is just to the north of Sioux City. It's along Interstate 29, and there it is right there. And the big thing that you can kind of take out of this is in the ditches. Look at the ponding of water that has taken place. I'm not sure if you've heard about places like Wakefield, Nebraska, through last night and through this morning. over 4 inches of rain has fallen. A lot of locations have come in with over 2 inches. And when those thunderstorms come down, they come down heavy, and you can see some of the ponding of water that was taking place there. Again, that was a still image from a traffic cam just to the north of town. So some pretty impressive stuff showing up there. And that's why I always tell you, please be so careful when you're out on the roadways. Even if you're in an area that is not under a tornado warning, for example, you think, there's no tornado warning, I'm fine. Boy, you get that kind of a heavy rain coming down on you, that is not very fun to be traveling in. Kat, what do you have over there?
Ron, we do have a new tornado warning. This is for Plymouth and Sioux County until 2:30 p.m. this afternoon. So we have a weather now reports of a damaging tornado currently on the ground. This is from located near Lamar's, moving north at 25 miles an hour. So this is a confirmed tornado near Lamar's. If you are in Lamar's or the surrounding area in this red box here, you absolutely want to take your tornado precautions now. We do have a confirmed tornado on the ground just near Lamar's, probably moving, I would say, west of Highway 75, judging by some of the rotation we're seeing on radar. So in addition to the Sioux City Metro, we also have this area of rotation that is just to the west of Highway 75, again, moving north at 25 miles an hour. So they're starting to pick up speed here. And I would say at this point, any leading edge of these thunderstorms that are developing, we probably want to treat them like they are spinning, because we do have 4 tornado warnings now, 3 tornado warnings now for some of these leading edge thunderstorms as they work their way eastward. That tornado warning that was for Jefferson, South Dakota and Jackson, Nebraska has been allowed to expire. And now we are left with Plymouth and Woodbury County, with an additional warning for Plymouth and Sioux County, both of these going until 2:30.
Yeah, and right now I'm trying to see the circulation. I think we're on max 2 is what we're showing. There's max 1 as far as the reflectivity. So this is the one that we are most concerned about right now, because we've had that report of a tornado on the ground, like Kat was just talking about, near Lamar's, lifting its way to the north. So what we don't know, I guess, unless I missed a Kat there, I was looking at some other things over here too, but we don't know the size of this. We don't know if it's a small tornado on the ground, where it's at exactly, but I tell you what, near Lamar's, tornado reported on the ground with that cell right there, lifting its way to the north. You can see that new tornado warning that is out there from northern Plymouth County into southern Sioux County. Highway 75, again, this is a situation if you have family or friends who are trying to do any kind of traveling from here in Sioux City, trying to go north, and I don't care whether it's on Highway 75 or on I-29 right now, this is not a great time to be traveling because of all these cells that we have popping up right along this line. There's that tornado watch in effect for most of the KTIV viewing area that obviously includes central Siouxland here. That goes until 7 p.m. The watch is indicating for the next several hours, not a good idea to be outside, especially once the cells are popping up close to you. If you live farther off to the east, you have time still because all the cells are taking place basically in central Siouxland. There is that tornado watch until 7 p.m. that I was talking about. Now, Kat was talking about this during the noon show, but eventually with that tornado watch, you'll probably start to see some counties eliminated out west, as this entire progression is going to be to the east throughout the afternoon. And what's so interesting is the big storms, the big line of storms, that's actually taking place well to the east of the KTIV viewing area. So this is under this low pressure area, and that happens. Once you have a low spinning like that, sometimes you get better mixing taking place, where you get that better rotation, I should say, taking place, and that is kind of what we have happening right here in the heart of our area. So there's 1, 2, 3 tornado warnings all in effect. This one here in Sioux City goes until 2:15, so another 10 to 15 minutes. But again, the circulation has probably gone just to the north of Sioux City. The bigger deal right now is up near Lamar's, where the tornado has been reported on the ground by spotters up that direction. So a confirmed tornado, that was at 1:58 that confirmation came in, moving to the north at 25 miles per hour. And Kat, I suppose that's probably part of the good news is so much of what you were watching during the morning hours when those first tornado warnings started to pop up, everything was so slow moving. This is at least is moving. We're at 25 miles per hour right now.
Yeah, we went from some of these cells moving about 15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, to now about 25 to 35 miles an hour. So we're starting to see a pickup in speed, but unfortunately that pickup in speed is also translating to a pickup in rotation in the atmosphere. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these little leading edge storms just start to spin. Also, we are really close to a strong low pressure system, and that is part of what is causing a lot of this rotation, is the spin in the atmosphere from that low pressure system, just allowing these little spin ups. So Ron and I, we've dealt with a lot of these what we call whack-a-mole situations, where we get the quick spin up, it's on the ground for a little bit, and then it dies, and then the warning goes away, and then down the line another one gets issued, it pops up. It's very brief for the most part. Usually they tend to be weak, so that's the good news here, but it's always worth being safe rather than sorry and taking those precautions. You know, it's good practice as we head into farther along into our severe weather season, which we have several more months to go, Ron.
Yeah, the storm that was moving through Sioux City here was packing a pretty good punch, as we were talking about. And I guess we have a picture from Perry Way, which is located... Okay, we don't have it right now. We'll probably try to get to that eventually once we have that. But nevertheless, I think a decent amount of wind probably came down with that storm as it was moving through Sioux City. Again, this has been the cell that we're concerned about. It's hard to track it exactly right now. We're not seeing a lot of rotation, even though there was a confirmed tornado reported on the ground from weather spotters. That was at 1:58 p.m., moving to the north at 25 miles per hour. So again, it was reported near Lamar's. You can already see where that circulation would be, is probably to the north of Lamar's. And with it moving 25 miles per hour, it's not going to take too long for this to cross from Plymouth County on into Sioux County at this point. Still a little bit of circulation farther off to the west, but no warnings associated with that. This warning down here still in effect from northern Woodbury County into southern Plymouth County. At this time, just a little bit of circulation. And sometimes that makes these a little tough to track. When you have larger tornadoes trying to develop, you get better circulation going on, and you can see them better through what is called velocity data. That's what we're looking at right here. And it's basically radar looking at the wind coming directly at it and going directly away from it. And when you have that, that's what gives us these signatures of the red and greens together, and that's when we can show you the circulation a little bit better. So a little hard to see a lot of that right now. I think we do have that picture now that we were talking about just a little bit ago. This is some damage on Perry Way, and again, this is on the north side of Sioux City. Jennifer Volmer, thank you for sharing this with us, but you can see on the right-hand side of your picture there was a tree, and it looks like it's just kind of completely chopped off there in the middle, and unfortunately came down on what looks like might be a deck or a little slide there, and so that's just kind of a for instance of what has come through Sioux City. And again, we've been in that tornado warning. The tornado warning, I'm sure, will be going away for us here in Sioux City at expiration time at 2:15. We sheltered in place here at KTIV. As I mentioned, Kat and I are in a good spot being in the studio. We were in a safe spot, but the rest of the TV station, they were doing that. I hope you were too here in Sioux City. Now, if you live to the north of here, you need to be doing that. If you live in the Lamar's area or points to the north of there, that's what you need to be doing, because that circulation is going on. There has been a report of that tornado near Lamar's, and Kat, thank you very much. She's circled a couple of circulations that she's watching right now. One to the southwest of Struble. That's Highway 75 right there. And Kat, do you know, is this moving pretty much due north or a little to the northeast? Take that away there.
They're saying it's moving due north now at 30 miles an hour. So arrival time in Morris at 2:10. So if you do live in and around Morris, is it Struble or Struble? I can never, Struble. That's what I was going to go for. But Struble, Morris, you want to be in your tornado shelters just out of an abundance of caution. We do have two areas now of rotation. If you can pull us up quick on Max 1 here, I'm going to show you these multiple areas of rotation. We do have this area south of Craig that's technically kind of right on the line of the tornado warning that we're watching pretty carefully. It's been showing signs of intensification there as well. So we kind of have multiple spots we're watching within this little storm cell that could be rotating. And honestly, when we get into these situations, this kind of original circulation that did spawn a tornado typically will die out. We'll have a little bit of a lull, and then we may have some recycling on the back side, which is a possibility as well. So we're going to be watching, how this storm goes through a cycle, its life cycle. But I would say we're starting to get maybe a little bit of a stronger indication of what's going on near Struble, and that is, I would say, maybe some slightly more higher values of rotation than we saw just a few minutes ago. So maybe starting to intensify again. But we are going to be watching these storms here as we work our way to the south. Now, we do still have that tornado warning ongoing for northern Woodbury and southern Plymouth County. So far, we have not seen as much rotation out of this as we did earlier. So you can see how we're not seeing a whole lot of red showing up on radar. That's a really good sign. So hopefully they're going to allow this tornado warning to expire, although there are maybe just a few little spots of rotation trying to show up farther to the north. So heads up, Merrill, you may be in the line of this here again, as these storms move pretty much due north at about 30 miles an hour. Ron?
Yeah, what's so crazy about this, Kat, is honestly, as far as the Midwestern scene goes, the best chance for seeing tornadoes is probably going to be in southeastern Iowa as far as large tornadoes go, and ones that could be really impactful. We got to be worried about these, obviously, as well. This picture right here in South Sioux City, Nebraska, Andrea Jean, nice enough to be showing us that. Looks like a very interesting cloud formation coming down from the clouds. Hard to tell exactly what's going on there over the house there, but obviously a very unique look there anyway. I know it can kind of look like a tornado. I'm not so sure that's exactly what we're looking at there, because that'd be a good sized tornado. Kat?
Typically with these particular types of storms, we have a lot of moisture. We got a lot of rain today. You get those clouds that you just saw, and that's called a scud cloud. It's where basically we're getting air going up into the thunderstorm, and it's condensating into a cloud, and so it tends to look like a tornado, but I would say that one's probably more than likely not one. We did get a look of that exact cloud from one of our cameras just about 30 minutes, or I guess 15 minutes ago or so. So that I would say that's probably not a tornado, but we are going to be watching for any other instances of reports that we get.
Yeah, I think it was one of those probably scud clouds that we were looking at live on one of our weather cams. Those are the kind that are so low to the ground. They're moving very quickly, so they can be very scary looking, obviously, and sometimes they are mistaken for tornadoes and such. But so we have a unique situation here in Siouxland. Like I said, the better chance of the larger tornadoes in the Midwest today is going to be in southeastern Iowa. I was talking to my daughter who goes to the University of Iowa, telling her to watch herself this afternoon and to plan on not walking, for example. Now here in Siouxland, we are under a tornado watch. It goes until 7 p.m. That's the Signal Hill cam that you were just looking at right there with the dark skies overhead, especially as you work your way to the north. We do have a couple showers trying to pop right back up over Sioux City, but those are not overly intense. By far, the one I'm most concerned about right now is just to the west of Struble there, making its way to the north. Anywhere along Highway 75, don't be traveling in that corridor right now between Lamar's and north of there toward Morris, for example. Just not a safe place to be. There is Struble, obviously, and this is where that circulation has been taking place, just to the west of Highway 75. But anywhere in this area, you can see the outlined region where the tornado warning is currently in effect. You want to be taking shelter instead of trying to go outside and travel anywhere at this time. So still the two tornado warnings. The one here in Sioux City and just to the north of Sioux City, that is supposed to expire at 2:15, and I would think they would probably let that expire. As Kat was saying, there's just maybe a little circulation to the north of that warning area. So by far, I think this is the part that I'm most interested in. I'm going to say maybe they've just put out an update, Kat. I don't know if you'd be able to look at the actual update from the National Weather Service, but you can see how they've kind of chopped things off right here. So this is the circulation, great view right there of those reds and greens I was telling you about a little bit. That's called the velocity data. That's where we can see the circulation. So there's Struble just to the west of there and moving to the northeast. What do you have there, Kat?
Yeah, a lot of good news here. The National Weather Service while they have not confirmed that the tornado has lifted, they've at least changed the warning from a confirmed tornado into a radar indicated tornado. So this is good news. Probably likely the tornado has lifted. We just haven't gotten the word per se. And the rotation on radar has started to improve a little bit. So we're seeing less and less of the tight coupling between red and green. So some good news there, although there is some still broad rotation there. It does look like it is, the area of rotation is 9 miles southwest of Orange City, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. This is going to be around Morris at 2:15. So we're just a few minutes away. Looks like it's maybe the new area of rotation has kind of moved to the south, that secondary rotation I was talking about just a minute ago. So we've kind of seen that first area of rotation disappear, and this is our second area kind of recycling like I was talking about just a few minutes ago. So this is 2:15 for Morris at that time of arrival with this area of rotation. But as of right now, I would say things are looking up. It doesn't look as intense as it did earlier. And of course, it looks like we are still seeing some improvement in the tornado warning that's still ongoing for Woodbury and Plymouth County. So hopefully they're going to allow that tornado warning to expire.
Yeah, we're probably driving our directors crazy. I'm not driving you crazy at all. You just went to Max 2 just like I was going to ask you to do. So they are reading my mind. They are very good at doing that. Why I want to show you this picture, by the way, on this map right here. Look how broad this area of low pressure is. So in eastern Iowa, I was telling you how about that's probably going to be the place with more severe weather today as far as true, very dangerous reports that end up coming in. Well, you can see all the severe thunderstorm warnings associated with that right now. We're back here closer to the low pressure area itself. And I'm happy to see, and Kat was kind of noting how things were looking a little bit better in a lot of areas. The tornado warning that was in effect farther down to the south, it is no longer out there for, I believe that was Cumming County. And notice how instead of individual cells, we're kind of getting things to fill in a little bit. It's just becoming more of a broader area of scattered thunderstorms going on as opposed to individual cells. Anytime those cells get kind of on their own, we call them discrete thunderstorms, discrete supercells, you don't like to see that because they can kind of get their own rotation going and keep it going. Right now, it's kind of looking to me like we're seeing more and more in the way of just scattered thunderstorms, all coalescing, all coming together. We just need that to come together up to the north of Sioux City. Still a couple of cells up there are a little more by themselves and still producing that better rotation. But again, Kat, I was happy to hear you say that they are no longer calling that tornado on the ground, but still some circulation taking place, huh?
Yeah, it looks like they have backed off on the actual confirmation of the tornado, so that's good. They did say there was some rotation in the Sioux City metro area, and now it looks pretty, very much lessened than it was. So I fully expect this tornado warning for Woodbury and Plymouth County to expire any minute now, or they're going to cancel it any minute now, hopefully. But we still have a little bit of some broad rotation still ongoing in that northern Plymouth County, southern Sioux County, and it has broadened out, but there are spots that are still of concern. I'm going to pause this, kind of track this out for you real fast and show you some areas of concern that we're looking at right now. Just kind of give you a close-up look. So this is kind of that little area. It's quite a bit smaller than what it looked like earlier. So at least there's some good news there. It's still not what we would call tight rotation, and it's not quite broad rotation. So it's kind of somewhere in between. I can see why they're keeping this tornado warning going for just a few more minutes. But overall, I would say things are trending much better than what we were seeing earlier today. So a lot of good news, I think, going on right now.
Yeah, I guess the pictures do continue to come into us here at KTIV. Always remember, you got to keep yourself safe first and foremost. And once the storm passes, if you have something to share with us, we love to see those. So thank you for that. You can always send those to all kinds of locations. I think you go on our website is probably the easiest way to do it anymore. Marilyn Koppel from right here in Sioux City. Again, this is down around Target, I am being told. And again, I think this is that big area of rain and scud clouds and wind coming out of the clouds that we're probably looking at there. It's so hard when these are literally popped up. Kat and I are kind of seeing these for the first time as we speak when we see those. But and it looks like, Kat, Kat's busy getting this new warning, but it looks like a new tornado warning is coming in for that cell that moved through the north side of Sioux City here. They think there's enough rotation going on with that, it looks like. Before she has that, we have this location right here. This is east of Hinton. Bonnie, thank you very much for passing that along, these low clouds that look so threatening out there. And I think I heard that Lakeview is going to be coming, and probably our weather cam over there. And that's what these big thunderstorms look like when you're off in the distance. You see the blue skies overhead. The blue skies are never good when you're not wanting instability, because the heating of the day all of a sudden causes more instability, gets these thunderstorms going a little bit better. And you can see the view there from our Lakeview cam. All right, Kat, what do you got?
Yeah, so we went from a tornado warning that we were saying was looking better to now the storm that came out of the Sioux City Metro is now moving back into Plymouth County and into Sioux County. So we have that leading edge where we have more rotation again. So this is a new tornado warning for south central Sioux County and eastern Plymouth County until 2:45, where we have it's pretty much near Merrill or near Lamar's, moving northeast at 35. So they are picking up in speed now as they work their way to the north and east. But we do have the potential for this to be near Lamar's, Rebson right now, I would say at 2:20. So about 4 minutes, I would say, before this area of interest moves in. So right now, this is just the south of Lamar's. So if you just thought you were in the clear, Lamar's, unfortunately, probably a good idea to just sneak right back into your safe place just in case. Remsen, I think this will generally go to the west of you for right now, but always a good idea to be better safe than sorry this time of year. This area of rotation is pretty much just going right up 75 from Merrill into Lamar's. So right now, it looks pretty broad to me. It does not look like a very tight rotation signature. So at least right now things are looking fairly broad, but that's the area of concern right there, moving up into Lamar's. Ron?
Yeah, and I keep telling people not to be driving on Highway 75 right now. I'm going to stick with that. Do not to be doing that right now. This is right between Merrill and Lamar's. There's that circulation that Kat was just speaking of. So you can see the two different tornado warning areas that we still have ongoing. Again, this is the cell that for a brief period of time was reported with a tornado on the ground. It's no longer the case with that cell. That tornado warning goes until 2:30. This is the brand new tornado warning that we have in effect from just north of Hinton. It does include Lamar's and this Highway 75 corridor, and there's just kind of concerned about this entire area from Lamar's and just to the points east of there, of that possible rotation affecting locations in there. So remember, if you live in these areas, you remember what to do. You get down into a basement, you get away from windows. If you have a chance to grab some pillows and blankets and throw those on top of you, it's a good idea. Even if these end up being relatively small tornadoes, as so far they have been today, if that small part of the tornado happens to be where your house is, you can still have damage. It can be very, very dangerous. So please, if you live in these areas, go ahead and take cover. If you have the TV on, turn us up as high as you can. There's ways to get us online anymore. Lots of ways to be able to continue to follow our coverage here with First Alert Weather, and we want to be able to make that as easy as possible. Kat?
I've had a computer freeze here, unfortunately, but
okay.
We are going to be let's go over kind of your traditional tornado safety just in case. It's a good time to review. We do have, if you have a basement, that's the best place to be, first and foremost. If you don't have one of those, that's okay. Usually an interior hall, closet, or bathroom, even stairway can be a good place to shelter. Just make sure you're away from windows and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. It's always a good idea to cover yourself with blankets, mattresses for protection. The good old helmet or even pot would be a good extra protection for your head, because we do see head injuries as the main issue here with tornadoes. But for the most part, I would say things are looking at least pretty good when it comes to terms of the rotation. It is starting to improve a little bit. It looks like we've got a picture of some hail ongoing, or maybe even a weather camera.
All right, there's a hail report. We're not sure where this is from, but Terry, showing some dime-sized hail there. That is below what we consider severe limits. A severe thunderstorm warning is issued for 1-inch diameter hail or larger, or 58-mile-per-hour wind gusts or greater. And that was kind of the crazy thing about that Wayne, Nebraska video we showed earlier. A lot of, probably most of that, maybe all of that hail that was coming down there was probably not warned for a severe thunderstorm warning because it was not very big, but there was copious amounts of it. Well, that is not part of a severe thunderstorm warning. So, yeah, you can get those amounts of hail. I know it could probably be frustrating thinking, how are we not in a severe thunderstorm warning? Because I'm sure if you were underneath that in places like Wayne, I bet that was not very pleasant. We had some hail here at KTIV around 11:30 last night coming down for maybe 5 minutes, but it was kind of daunting hearing it hit the windows of the newsroom. I went out to the newsroom, and our overnight producer was like, dang, this sounds kind of scary out here. So I can't imagine what that was going through, but yeah, you see a little bit of small hail being reported there. If we could go back to Max 2, I just want to show you a little bit, since we're talking about hail and that dime-sized hail that you were just looking at there. I have our hail core up. This kind of shows you where the hail is specifically as opposed to the rotation. They can be in little different spots sometimes. So basically, it's especially if you live just to the west of Highway 75, just southeast of Ironton, near Morris. There's some decent-sized hail, probably not even 1 inch in diameter from what I'm seeing right there, and then a little with that second cell that we have a little bit farther off to the south. But again, the bigger deal are these cells that we're looking at right here. And again, from an overall perspective, the ones that were down south that were looking so threatening for a while, they are not looking as threatening. I'm hoping that is a trend that's going to continue for the rest of the afternoon, and we can start to settle things down here. And that's fully expected. As we get later into the afternoon, we should eventually start seeing a little more in the way of fewer thunderstorms, not as intensive thunderstorms, and this whole thing will then start to draw to an end with just some showers left over in the overnight hours. But for now, we continue to have these rotations going on, mostly across Plymouth County, one of those even in the southern sections of Sioux County, just to the south of Sioux Center. If you live in any of those areas, you do want to continue to take cover at this time. Again, the one for just south of Sioux Center there, that warning goes until 2:30. So just about another 9 minutes here. The warning a little farther off to the southeast of there, that goes until 2:45. That's Highway 75 corridor, and that, of course, includes Lamar's as well.
Yeah, and Ron, I would not be surprised if we get another tornado warning farther into Sioux County, starting to see some tightening rotation there. So it's just kind of these, like I said, kind of a very intense game of whack-a-mole where we get these little spin-ups, they pop up, they kind of die out, we get another one down the stream, and then we we do it all over again. And the National Weather Service basically has to warn them, cancel the warning, and add another one. So it's a very, very quick work for them and then for us. So we are looking at this area rotation technically north of the warning. This is near between pretty much right between Ironton and Morris, just right along Highway 10. This is west of Highway 75. So while there is not currently a warning for that particular area, I would not be surprised if they go ahead and extend this tornado warning farther to the north. That may eventually include places like Sioux Center. So just a little forewarn first alert for you just in case. So that little area, I'm going to stop this for you and show you what this looks like here. So this is the spot where we're looking at now, I think, for the possibility of our next little spin up that is trying to get going. And it looks like sounds like that's exactly what they just did. So reading my mind from the National Weather Service, we do have a new tornado warning for there as well. And looking at the new warning, this is again for south central Sioux County in northwest Iowa until 2:45. Currently, this is a radar indicated tornado, so we're just seeing it on radar. When red meets green, there's something in between. The severe thunderstorm is located near Morris, near Sioux Center, moving north at 30 miles an hour. So as it stands right now, arrival time for Sioux Center is 2:30. So we're going to be watching this again move to the north at about 30 miles an hour. So hopefully it'll go just to the west of Sioux Center. But right now I think Sioux Center could be in a spot where maybe it is a good idea to go ahead and take your tornado precautions right now.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, on Max 2, if we have the possibility of being able to take that, here we have it right here. So the circulation is a little bit farther down to the south here. There's Morris getting toward 225, for example. Sioux Center, somewhere between 230, 240, that time period anyway. Whichever it is, you want to make sure you're taking your precautions there. In Hull, Iowa, about 3 p.m. That'd be if it holds together and goes well outside of the warned area right here. But it just gives you an idea of the speed of this. And notice the circulation is oftentimes to the south or southeast of some of the big part of the thunderstorm that you see. So it's very easy to see those bright colors and think there's the worst area. Now that's the worst area for the hail probably, but as far as the circulation goes, it's a little farther down to the south, and that's the reason you see the tornado warning actually starting a little farther down to the south there than what this is. And it's starting to look like a mess of a situation here just because there's an old tornado warning sitting there that has just been replaced by this one. We have this other warning a little bit farther off to the southeast, continues with an area of rotation there as well. So just kind of active weather going on to the north of Sioux City. This started in the far southern parts of the KTIV viewing area, and then these cells suddenly started to pop up. One of them eventually moved through the Sioux City metro area, and we kind of hunkered in place here. All the employees did while we continued our coverage. We're okay now here in Sioux City. We no longer have a tornado warning going on, and life is returning to normal as far as just being able to do your normal thing. To the north, though, not so much. These are the areas that you do not want to be messing with. You don't want to be outside in these kinds of situations. We keep talking about the hail. There's been so much of that going on with all of these storms, it seems like. Here is the north side of Sioux City. This is from Eric Moore. Of course, we've already seen some wind damage that took place on Perry Way, and this gives you an idea. A lot of the hail has not been severe, but there's been lots of it from time to time, and some of that may be a little over ½ inch in diameter. And remember, you have to have 1 inch diameter hail for it to be considered severe hail. So that's what severe thunderstorm warnings are based upon anyway. And here's another hail report from Alexa. Alexa, thank you very much for sending that in. It's is that a quarter? Yeah, it is a quarter. I'm looking at there.
Yeah.
So about a quarter-sized hail there. That is getting to be closer to what we consider severe hail. So thank you very much. So many great pictures coming in that helps us kind of understand what is going on out there. Kat and I, we're just in the studio looking at radar and those kinds of things, so we don't get to see these images very often, although Kat did run outside. Kat, thank you for doing that earlier, by the way. She wanted to check out the hail, and I don't blame her one side. This is also the north side of Sioux City from Eric Moore. Yeah, pretty impressive cluster of small hailstones going on there. Kat, what are you looking at over there?
Yeah, just still not really getting a whole lot of communication right now. So I'm just kind of looking at our velocity radar, trying to pick out the spots of rotation that are currently popping up here and there. And so these little spots of rotation, they just kind of pop up, they intensify, they go away, and then we do it all over again. And so I'm going to just pause it, take a quick little look here at the latest spots of rotation, give you kind of more, looks like that new warning, that old warning has been trimmed back a bit for Plymouth County. So this new warning just kind of encompassing this little bit of rotation here. So we've got this little bit of rotation, I would say, is probably the most area of concern right now. And so it's just to the northeast of Lamar's. So still a good idea to keep hanging out in your tornado safe place just in case. Going farther up the road, that area near Morris that was looking like there was rotation, that has pretty much disappeared in the near term. So they may end up canceling that warning soon because it has moved to the north. So we've now seen this new cycle popping up near Sioux Center. That is probably the tightest rotation we have right now, just to the south of Sioux Center. It's also not, if I'm looking at a radar and it is showing a big tornado, it does not look like this. So that's the good news. This is not what we would say, big, dangerous tornado. It is a brief, weak tornadoes that kind of pop up and then they fall apart and then they do it over and over again. But it's enough to where it can damage, it can blow out windows and damage trees, and just enough to where things can be dangerous for people. So we want to make sure that you are taking your tornado precautions out of an abundance of caution on a day like today. So otherwise, I think we're just going to show a look here in Orange City, Ron.
Yeah, there is our Orange City cam showing, again, those low-moving, fast-moving clouds. When they're low in the atmosphere, you can see them moving faster than if they were higher up. So kind of an impressive view there on our Orange City cam. And as we, turn right to the right, it's amazing how different the sky can look when you're looking in one direction versus another direction. And there you go. As we start to pan that a little bit, you can see some of the darker and more threatening clouds beginning to show up off that direction. Remember, Orange City, you are within the path of these cells that are coming your way. As a matter of fact, Orange City is just off to the east of that current tornado warning that goes until 2:45 for a lot of Sioux County at this point. It looks like you're probably getting rain according to what I'm seeing on radar there in Orange City. And if you're not, you're going to be real soon because you see those threatening clouds moving into the picture as we speak, as a matter of fact. And then farther down to the south of there, that is where we continue to see some showers, thunderstorms going on. And here, if you just want to get an idea of where Orange City lies, since we were just looking at that picture, there it is right there. So there you are in Orange City. That's the reason I thought, it's probably raining or will be very, very soon. There's the bigger part of the cell. It probably has some hail associated with it from about Highway 75 over to Highway 10. Any of those areas would be pretty impressive with all the circulations just a little bit to the south of those regions and then moving their way to the north. Most of the timing's been about 25, 30 miles per hour, somewhere in there that a lot of these cells have been moving. So the south end of this is looking so much better. The north end is still very active here from Plymouth on up into Sioux counties. And that's the reason that we've been on now for a good chunk of time here this afternoon. We've still never heard of any large tornadoes going on. Most of them have been pretty brief, relatively small, more a spin-up type variety, but nevertheless, we are all under a tornado watch that goes until 7 p.m. because there was going to be this kind of activity going on, and that very much continues to be the case. So there you see the cells all kind of lined up. These two warnings that are now in progress both go until 2:45. So it's for about the next 15 minutes that we're concerned about these two areas. This one looks like it would have much better hail near Sioux Center as opposed to this one that is near Lamar's. That is where the circulation is. It's been over Lamar's, and that's trying to push its way off to the northeast. So those are the circulations, the areas of interest, the areas that are probably creating hail that we have going on at this time to the north of the Sioux City metro region. Kat, are you seeing anything over there?
Really just looking at kind of new areas of rotation on radar. Yeah. One kind of tightens up a little bit and then it just kind of falls apart, and the next one just back to the west starts to pop up again. So we have kind of new areas that we're looking at pretty carefully. I would say just to the north of Lamar's, a very, very broad rotation. So we're not seeing much in the way of tight rotation right now. Still, I think I can see why they are keeping that tornado warning going, but also I do not think that there's a tornado on the ground with this signature at this time. Farther to the north, this is where we start to get a little bit tighter rotation now starting to develop to the northwest of Sioux Center now. So this spot that we were looking at earlier has kind of moved off to the east and now getting a little bit tighter back to the west. So this is the spot we're kind of looking at right now for the potential for maybe another little spin up that's going to pop up. This is moving to the north at about 30 miles an hour, so I could track this out for you real fast and and see if we can get a look at this. I'm going to move this to the north here and see if we can get a track moving north about 30 miles an hour. So probably going to go east of Rock Valley, but Carmel at 2:32 for your arrival time. So this is going to be skirting just to the west of Highway 18 and 75. So definitely worth staying off those roadways if you can at this time. But right now there's just a lot of these little spots that are popping up that have the potential to be rotating, but also not any that really scream, oh, hey, there's a tornado on the ground right now. So that's a good news, I would say, for now, but always worth being safe rather than sorry this time of year.
All those circulations are not created equal, are they, Kat?
No,
sometimes
they are
they're very
not.
weak. Sometimes they're much more intense. You can see that using that velocity data that Kat was just showing you. So a very useful tool that we are able to use to show you. Also very useful, all the pictures, the videos that you folks send in, we always appreciate it. And I understand that we have new video, and it's hail video, some hail that was coming down right there. Now, we're not exactly sure where this is, but boy, all of a sudden when that starts pelting your windows and your roof, and you look out and you see it bouncing off the ground, it's never a great feeling. I was smart once again today. I drove our clunker of a car in instead of my vehicle. It's sitting safely in our garage. You got to sometimes be smart about these situations. The kid's car goes first. This is Orange City, did you say, Keith? Okay. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, that last video that you were seeing, that was from Donald. Here is our Orange City cam. I was saying I thought the rain, had it not started yet, it was bound to be really soon, and there you go. Orange City now looks like you're getting in on a good rainstorm. Can't quite tell if there's any hail associated with that as well. Sometimes I can't tell if my eyes are playing tricks on me, or sometimes the camera kind of plays tricks on you as to, well, it looks kind of white. Maybe that's hail coming down, but can't be positive about what I'm seeing there. But it was a good-sized thunderstorm.
Ron, earlier, meteorologist Jacob Howard and I were seeing the same thing on our Sheldon camera earlier today, and we had a hard time telling whether it was hail or rain, but the raindrops have been just so big. These storms that we've had today has been just huge rainmakers. Well over 2 inches of rainfall has fallen over a big chunk of the KTIV viewing area. So there's an equal chance, I would say, that could be very large raindrops or maybe even a bunch of small hail. Yeah,
and sometimes you see it almost going sideways, so then you think, oh, it's probably rain, but by the same token, if this is only a quarter-inch hailstone, for example, and you have winds gusting over 40 miles per hour, well, maybe that is a little bit of small hail. A wind advisory is in effect into this evening because of the fact that we could see some wind gusts between 45 and 50 miles per hour associated with these cells as they move through. So what a lot more of us are seeing is the heavy rain, the hail, all those kinds of things. What a few of us are seeing are those rotations go overhead, and kind of the same way I was talking about that not all rotations are created equal. Not all tornado warnings, I guess, are necessarily equal. I mean, there are times when you know that it's a large tornado on the ground. That is not the case today. These have been small spin-ups. When they've been spotted, they've been shown to be small. When it's only circulation showing and the tornado warning gets issued for that, we can tell it's a weak circulation. So those are the good news aspects of this, I guess, today, is that overall the setup is not for these large tornadoes. But nevertheless, even if it's a small circulation, it hits right where you are, it's dangerous. So that is why we have to pay very close attention to these. Treat them equally. You still want to get to your basement. You still want to make sure you're doing the smart things to keep you and your family safe. And that's why here at KTIV, everyone stopped working for a while and they went and hid just because that circulation was going over Sioux City for a period of time. But there are the two tornado warnings, both in effect until 2:45. One from Lamar's to the northeast, the other one right in the heart of Sioux County, basically, as we continue to see the bigger area of heavy rain and hail on the north end of that. That's moving to the north at 25 miles per hour. The circulation has been just a little bit farther down to the south of that. Kat, I'm going to throw it to you for a minute here.
Yeah, so basically what Ron was saying, not all circulations are created equal, and that's why we're watching this velocity radar very carefully. So green is toward the radar, red is away from the radar, and what we're looking for is those winds basically to go like this, and that tells us that there's a tornado there. And if we're looking for a large tornado, we would be seeing bright oranges and bright blues. So there's a lot of good news with the signatures we are seeing, but also remember that an EF0 or an EF1 tornado tornado. If you have a wrongly placed tree on the wrong side of your house at any given time, that could create some very dangerous conditions for you. And this is why we want you to go ahead and take those tornado precautions regardless, because these little spin ups, while they tend to be weak and brief, they can topple a tree right onto your house, and that's never a good sign. So we do have an area of rotation that I would say is probably the most concerning right now. It's also not extremely concerning, so that's good, but it is starting to move out of Sioux Center. I would not be surprised to see a new tornado warning. Sounds like we may be getting one here momentarily. I believe we're going to get a new tornado warning probably north of Sioux Center, but also it looks like this one singular cell has just been doing a lot of nefarious activities out here. So we do have a new tornado warning. This is for Calhoun and Pocahontas County, and this new tornado warning here is going to be for Calhoun, Pocahontas County into Humboldt County, which is not our viewing area, until 3:15 p.m. There was a confirmed tornado located over Rockwell City, moving north at 35 miles an hour. So this one not really showing us a great view of what it would look like on radar, which is because we are just so far away from the Des Moines radar. This is kind of a special case that we're looking at on this particular radar. So switching over here to kind of a wide view, and you can see we have multiple tornado warnings yet again. I would say the one that I would be most concerned about is this one. We've been talking about how the line creates these little spin-ups, but if we can get a cell that is on its own, that's when it has a lot more juice to work with, so to speak. And this is where we could potentially see a little bit more of a spin-up. That's why we do have a confirmed tornado here on this particular storm. This is Calhoun County, the tornado located near Rockwell City. So Rockwell City to Pocahontas, Manson, Jolly, you want to make sure you are in your tornado shelters now. Ron, do you have anything you want to say in particular here?
Yeah, I have a track on that. If we go to Max 2, and I'll show you what some of the timing looks like it could be. So if that circulation is near Rockwell City, and it sounds like they have a confirmed tornado that they have seen touch the ground there. So here's Rockwell City right here. It's basically overhead as we speak. Then as you push off to the north of there, this moving at 35 miles per hour. Twin Lakes would be to you around 250. Into the Palmer area around 304. Pocahontas at 321, and then eventually Havelock, you could be affected at 334. And all through there, it's just kind of a line of these thunderstorms that have developed. It's the circulation that is on the far south side of all that activity. As a matter of fact, I'll take the storm track off of there.